The Barroom Network presents two fired-up Bears fans. They are ready to rumble on the Bear Debate.
You're listening to the Barroom Network. The following program is intended for all audiences. Welcome to the Fantasy Football Goon Podcast with your hosts, Joe Mandel, the Goon, and the man with the plan, Adam Schaum. We're bringing you the fantasy football knowledge that you need every single week.
Derrick Henry still going. Stays in bounds. He might go 99 yards for the touchdown. Unbelievable.
Flushed out again all the way back. Turning the corner. Fires downfield. Caught. Touchdown. Only Mahomes turns what might have been a 15-yard sack into a 27-yard touchdown.
Saquon Barkley across midfield, down the sideline, staying in bounds, and Barkley takes it all the way. 68 yards for his first NFL touchdown. McCaffrey right up the middle, and he is gone for the touchdown. 58 yards. And this is to Thomas. He's gone. Touchdown Saints.
Okay, it's time for the easiest part of any coach's job, the cut. Now, while I wasn't able to cut everyone I wanted to, I have cut a lot of you. Steven, I like your hustle. That's why it was so hard to cut you. Congratulations, the rest of you made the team. Except you, and you.
God bless fantasy football. There are many things a man can do with his time. And this, better than those things.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Fantasy Football Goon. I am your host, Joe Mandel, the Goon, and we are here with you on this amazing Fantasy Championship Sunday. That's right. We are going to help you set those lineups and get them ready to rock and roll to take home that trophy and win your league. It's been a long road this year, one of the craziest seasons probably of all time. I play a lot of fantasy, and I would say with injuries and COVID, it's been one of the wildest years. But we made it here, and we are in the new year. First of all, I want to lead things off wishing you guys a very, very happy new year. And, of course, welcome to Championship Sunday. Big shout out to my fantasy brother and co-host, Adam Schaum. He will be hopping in at some point during the show today. But as things go in life, he had a confrontation with a hot water heater that decided to blow this morning. And you know how that goes. So, Adam, we're thinking of you, hoping it all works out just fine for you. But I will keep the ship rolling and running until you get here. And we'll answer questions in the chat as they come in. But without further ado, I mean, I think it's time to talk about Fantasy Championship Sunday. It's a big day for fantasy owners. If you got this far, the worst thing that could happen is for you to lose. So you want to take home that trophy, and most of all, take home that prize and all the fun bragging rights that come with it. Excuse me. But I do want to go through the inactives. Usually I don't go through the inactives right away, but since Adam's not here yet, and it's very important that you have the guys that are actually playing starting in Championship Sunday, let's dive in to the inactives list. So I'm looking through the games that are out so far. Of course, one of the first games this afternoon is you got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Jets. Nothing too crazy in terms of fantasy relevancy in this game. So you don't really have to worry about this one. So that's good. And not that you're going to start any Jets anyway. Dolphins at Titans. So here's where it gets a little interesting here, is that you've got Salvin Ahmed, the backup running back, who, unless you're in a 16-man league, you're probably not giving him a start. But the big thing is for Tennessee, they have quite a few defensive players out of this game. They got 2 corners, a defensive end, and a defensive tackle. So that could mean good things for the Dolphins, especially for Jalen Waddle. And I feel like our buddy Adam, once he pops in later, might talk a little bit about him, but we'll hold off until we get to that. And by the way, guys, if you have questions as they come up, pop them here in the chat. I'm going to address them as soon as I can. Hopefully Adam can pop in later. If not, I'll just run through my starts and sits. But right now we're going through the inactives list. Going to the Jaguars-Patriots game this afternoon. No Nelson Aguilar for the Pats. Same thing, no J.J. Taylor, N'Keal Harry. So no Nelson Aguilar on the field means good things for Jacoby Myers. And that's why I love Jacoby today against the Jaguars. So that's something you should take a look at. A sleeper tight end who I've really liked this year, James O'Shaughnessy, is inactive today for the Jaguars. So you have to look elsewhere for some tight end help. But diving into this Chiefs-Bengals game, that's where things get a little questionable here. A lot of people have Clyde Edwards-Helaire on their team. He is officially inactive in this game. So Darrell Williams is a great option in his place, available on some waiver wires if you're lucky. And then on the Cincinnati side of the ball, just a whole lot of defensive players out of this game. So that means Kansas City might have a little bit of an easier time getting the ball moving down the field. Getting to this Raiders-Colts game, again, no fantasy relevant players missing from this one, so that's what you love to see. In terms of Falcons at Bills, the only big name here is Emmanuel Sanders, inactive for the Bills, so that could mean good things for the rest of the Buffalo passing attack, and Devin Singletary, who's another guy that's really been picking up steam lately. Before I get to the rest of the inactives here, I see I got a question here in the chat room. Connor wants to know. He has Justin Herbert as his QB1, Aaron Jones, David Montgomery as his running backs, Cooper Kupp, Michael Pittman as his wideouts, Freiermuth at tight end, and Chase Edmonds at flex. That's a really, really solid lineup, Connor. And first off, congratulations on getting to the championship game. That's incredible. Earlier, before we went live, Connor said he made it to the ship, boys. Couldn't have done it without us. Let's catch that dub. Connor, we appreciate that compliment. It means the world to us that you tune in and look at our advice every week. So first off, thank you for being a loyal listener. And secondly, we'd love to help you win that championship. Connor, I know you're watching. So when it comes to Freiermuth, I've been a little on the edge about him lately. He's been not quite as getting it done. Big Ben's not looking nearly as sharp at this stage in his career. So I don't love Freiermuth this week. I'm curious if you could let me know in the chat here who's available on waivers for you, because, guys like Gerald Everett for Seattle available today. I love him. For the backup tight end for Vegas, I'm drawing a blank on his name off the top of my head, but he is a solid option today against that horrible Indy attack. Indy is the worst team, one of the worst teams against the tight end, so I like him as well. So let me know who's available out there, and I'd like maybe a different name there at tight end for you, but I do like everything else you got going on. He says Chase Edmonds, Darnell Mooney, Jarvis Landry, Jared Peterson, or Gabriel Davis for flex. Well, I love Edmonds today, so I think you got to roll. You got to roll with Chase Edmonds. He's just been the hot hand. So far, I like that. But let me know about your tight end situation here. So just let me know in a second. But as you comment back, I'm going to hop back into the inactives, and we can come back to you and let me know what you got available at tight end. But I think out of those guys, you got to go with Chase Edmonds. I do like Gabriel Davis a lot today. I just don't like him quite as much as I like Chase Edmonds. So Chase Edmonds is one of my plays of the week. I just love what I've seen out of him. So great problem to have. And I don't know what's going on upstairs in my house, but it sounds like someone's knocking the doors down. But that's beside the point. Let's get going here. Back to the inactives list. And where do we leave off? We left off at the Philadelphia-Washington game. So officially, Miles Sanders is inactive for this game against the Washington football team. What does that mean for Miles Sanders owners? Well, it was all up in the air this week whether it was going to be Jordan Howard, who was also banged up, or Boston Scott as in the lead role. Well, Jordan Howard is active, and when Jordan Howard is active and the main guy, he's usually heavily involved. So I do really like Jordan Howard today against the Washington football team. He's a super sleeper, but again, this is a guy that's going to get goal line touches. I think he's really going to get it done for you today. So love Jordan Howard today against the Washington football team. That defense is drastically brutal. So I like that today. Let's see here. Connor says the Raiders tight end Tyler Higbee and Chad Azuma all available. I like Higbee as well today. He's got a great matchup, but the Raiders backup tight end I think is the way to go because they have a good matchup today. I believe Foster Moreau. That's it. Foster Moreau is the name of their backup tight end, and they get to go against Indy today. I love the matchup. I know he's only projected to have like 7 points or whatever, but I just feel like this guy's going to get open. Indy's weakness is the tight end. If they want to win this game, they're going to have to get him involved, and that's a risk that I'm willing to take in a couple of leagues, especially when Pat Freiermuth is very touchdown reliant. And in this game, you can see Moreau have a really, really good day against a horrible tight end defense of the Indianapolis Colts. So, Connor, that's my recommendation for today. Please don't necessarily feel like you have to take my advice. I just don't love what Freiermuth has been doing, or that Pittsburgh offense for that matter. But I would take a flyer on Foster Moreau today. So that's just my 2 cents there. Jumping back into the inactives list here, we went through the Eagles game. Now let's go to the Giants at Bears. Oh, I did want to point out that Eagles game, Jalen Hurts is active for this game. So it looks like no one has to worry about missing out on him in their fantasy championship. Going back here to Chicago for my Chicago Bears, Justin Fields, again, inactive for this one. And for the New York Giants, their wide receiver core is just absolutely banged up. Darius Slayton, Kadarius Toney out of this one. So obviously don't have those guys in your lineup. And let's be honest, you probably wouldn't have them in your championship lineup anyway. Now, here's the big fantasy relevant inactive list for today. LA Rams against the Ravens. Lamar Jackson inactive for this one. So fantasy owners will have to do without the stud for their fantasy championships. Plenty of other quarterbacks out there, which I'll dig into a little bit later, but no Lamar Jackson available today. And then for the LA Rams, nothing crazy in terms of fantasy relevancy for inactives. So those are the morning games, and that's what I have to say about those inactives. But Connor has another question here. Would you pick Jordan Howard over Chase Edmonds? No, I would not. I still like what I'm seeing out of Chase Edmonds over Jordan Howard. I do think Jordan Howard will be a bit of a bell cow today. But at the same time, I know he's a little bit banged up, and that kind of scares me just a little bit. But I think Chase Edmonds is a safer play, especially in PPR leagues, because he's going to catch some balls out of that backfield. So I think Chase Edmonds could be a league winner for some people because I really love him today. Connor also wants to know Cowboys defense or Seattle defense. That's like two bad options. Well, Seattle, Seattle. I love everything about their offense today. Let's be honest. You got to love any time your team plays the Detroit Lions. And then in the Cowboys, if you think about it, they have a pretty good matchup too against Arizona. The Arizona offense is much better than the Detroit offense. So if those are your only two options, Connor, I'm going to go with the Seattle defense because the Detroit Lions defense offense is not good. Aside from Amon-Ra St. Brown, which you're going to see him talked about quite a bit in this game or this show. So I would say go with Seattle out of those two. It's a bit of a sleeper defense, but I definitely like them more than the Cowboys today, going up against that tough Arizona defense. So good stuff there. Great questions, Connor. I always love the questions you bring to the show. But let's get back to this inactive list. I know we're into the afternoon games now, and there's not a whole lot of info out there, but there are a couple big ones. For Broncos at Chargers this afternoon, Teddy Bridgewater is officially inactive, as well as Tim Patrick. The Cardinals-Cowboys game, again, no big names announced as of yet, but again, no official extra additions have come out yet this morning. Diving into the Panthers at Saints game for Carolina, Stephon Gilmore, the corner is out. So that could be a good thing. That could help out a little bit for New Orleans. Kirk Cousins in this Packers game this evening will be out. He's in COVID protocols. He is out against the Packers tonight, so that really hurts Minnesota in this one. I would put all the wide receivers down a notch, and then Dalvin Cook goes up that much more because he's going to be a bell cow today. And for the Monday night game, no major inactives available at this point between Browns and Steelers. And there's my sump pump in the background. But at the end of the day, not too crazy with the injuries on Championship Sunday. So, you got to take it for what you have. Connor says now I have to snow blow all the snow. Yeah, I did that this morning, Connor. I actually got up about 7:15 this morning, and I snowblowed my driveway and all the sidewalks in the Chicagoland area. I'm in the New Lenox south suburb, and we got about probably about 3.5, 4 inches. So nothing too crazy. I don't know what you got by you, but good luck getting that all shoveled. But always happy to answer your questions, my friend. But since we're here this point in the show, I might as well dive into my starts, sits, and sleepers. And then hopefully by the time Adam's able to join us, maybe he can go through his. So let's dive into my starts and sits of the week. And I'm going to go start with my quarterback play. Joe Burrow against the Kansas City Chiefs. This is a guy that set a major record last weekend with passing against Baltimore. Over 500 yards passing, I think 4 touchdowns. He's just absolutely on fire. I think he's going to keep that hot hand going today against Kansas City. And what's going to be a shootout, I can't wait to see this game. It's going to be a ton of fantasy relevancy. One of the best championship quarterback matchups in a while, Burrow versus Mahomes. I think it's going to be super solid. So love Joe Burrow today. They're going to air it out quite a bit. I like Joe Mixon too. Hopefully he can open up that play action and Joe Burrow gets a lot of time to work with. So that's going to be fun to watch. Russell Wilson, a guy that really I've been hating on for most of the year. He's been brutal, but he's looking better as of late. Gets a great matchup against the Detroit Lions. And let's face it, Russell's got his last couple games in Seattle. Odds are he will not return there. So I'm sure he's going to want to put on a show to help get a bigger contract somewhere else. So look for Russell Wilson to blow up the Detroit Lions today. Gerald Everett is going to be his surprise heavy target. He's got touchdowns in 3 of his last 4 games, and he's being heavily targeted by Russ. So you might hear me talk about him again later, but Gerald Everett, I love him today as well against Detroit. And then last but not least on this list is one of the big surprises in fantasy this year, and Jalen Hurts. Now, this is a guy that some people drafted as a backup. Some people took a flyer on late in the draft, and he's been a top 5 quarterback for almost the entire season. At points, he was number 2, number 3. But regardless of, his win-loss total, his fantasy numbers have been fantastic. I believe he's averaging around 28 to 30 points a game roughly. And I think that's no exception today against the Washington football team. They've been really brutal, giving up tons of points to fantasy quarterbacks, and especially to fantasy quarterbacks that can use their legs. I think Jalen Hurts has a massive day today. He could be a league winner for some people. I'm excited to see what the Eagles do with him in the future because, I think they're going to trade Gardner Minshew, and I think Jalen Hurts is the future of that team. So love Jalen Hurts today against the Washington football team. Connor says, thanks, man. No problem, buddy. Always appreciate you. All right, getting to my running back starts of the week. And it's a guy that Connor was asking me about, Chase Edmonds against Dallas. I mean, Dallas cannot defend against the run. Edmonds has just been on absolute fire. He's a PPR machine. He's getting it done between the tackles. It's everything you could possibly ask for in a fantasy back heading into the championship. He's got a great matchup. He's got great hands, and he's got a quarterback that loves him. So at the end of the day, this is what's going to help you win your championship. Chase Edmonds, I think, is going to have a huge day today for fantasy owners, and you're not going to be sorry. Another guy that's going to have a huge day that wasn't on people's rosters probably up until a month ago is Rashad Penny. This kid has come in and really taken that lead back role from everybody else because of injury. He finally got his shot, and he's taking advantage of it. He looks great on the field. He's getting tons of yardage. He's looking good. He's making nice cuts. He's hitting all the holes the right way. And let's be honest, he gets the Detroit Lions today on Championship Sunday. He's going to be a bell cow. They're probably going to be up big in this game. And then look at that. End of the third quarter, early fourth, that's going to be Rashad Penny time. Run out the clock. Keep running the ball. This is what you need to win your championship. Rashad Penny is going to fit that bill. I love Rashad Penny in every facet and format, whether you're PPR, whether you're non-PPR, you're half-point PPR, touchdown dependent, whatever. Rashad Penny is your guy today, and he's a must start in my opinion. And same thing with Ronald Jones. I mean, these three guys, if you have them as two starters and a flex, you're going to win your championship, in my opinion. Ronald Jones, he filled in admirably for Leonard Fournette, and he's still doing that, trying to get him healthy. Ronald Jones, Fournette will probably be playing in this game, but from what I see, he's not inactive. But I still think Ronald Jones will be heavily involved in the passing attack. They want to keep Fournette healthy for the playoffs. I don't think they're going to use him all that much today. This is going to be the Ronald Jones show all day, catching passes, running between the tackles, and Tom Brady's going to have to utilize him because Tom Brady looks a little, I hate to say it, but he looks a little rusty as of late. So I think they're going to lean on Ronald Jones today. And especially in PPR leagues, I love him today. So that's where I come from on the running back standpoint. Wide receivers. Now this, you guys might be shocked. You're going to be shocked when you see this. My number one wide receiver play of the week is Amon-Ra St. Brown of the Detroit Lions. That's right. I have a Detroit Lion as my number one wide receiver on the board this week. This is a guy who the last 5 weeks has had between 10 and 12 targets. And he's coming down with about 7 or 8 of those a game. He's scoring. He's had touchdowns in 3 out of his last 5. He's the number one guy. He's a target machine. He's got great hands. This is a guy that they're going to build this team around. I'm so impressed with Amon-Ra St. Brown. He is going to be a super fantasy star next year. And you got to take that. You got to ride that to a fantasy championship today. I'm starting him in every single league that I'm in, whether it's for a championship spot or to come in third or even if it's the toilet bowl. I think I'm in one toilet bowl. What are you going to do? You can't do great in every league. But at the end of the day, Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to be a guy you're really going to want to keep an eye on, especially today. Look for him. I think he's going to have a touchdown and over 100 yards, and he could even eclipse that. He can even catch 10 balls today the way he gets targeted. So look for him to be a league winner. Christian Kirk as well. Since DeAndre Hopkins went on IR, this guy has been a beast. He's been an absolute target machine. 10 targets, 11 targets, 12 targets, well over 100 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 touchdowns. This guy's showing that he can get it done when he is the guy. And look at him getting that amazing matchup against the Dallas Cowboys. Kyler Murray's getting healthy again. I think Dallas is going to get shocked today by Arizona, and they're going to air it out. And Christian Kirk's going to have 2 touchdowns and over 100 yards in this game all day. That's what you need. to win a fantasy championship. And it wouldn't be my start to the week if I didn't have Van Jefferson on here. You know, Baltimore super banged up. Their defense not very good. Their secondary, you could definitely hurt them with the pass. You know, everyone's scared by Cooper Kupp right now because he keeps, blowing up everybody. Same thing at the end of the day. Odell Beckham Jr., everyone's like, oh, he's going to step in and he's going to be the big guy on campus. Well, you know what? He's going to be a guy for them to use as a decoy, and he's probably going to get some passes thrown his way today. But I think Van Jefferson sees a crazy amount of single coverage against Baltimore, and that means big things are going to happen for Van Jefferson. I'm saying over 100 yards and a touchdown today. It's music to fantasy owners' ears. So with that said, you gotta ride Van Jefferson. It's all good, man. You got to take it. You got to take it to the ship. And you got to take that ship into the harbor and take that trophy and put it on your mantle, because that's what we're going to do if you have these guys in your lineup today. I'm not used to doing all the talking on the show, and it's kind of fun just to ramble. I feel like I'm one of those talk show hosts that's just giving you his opinion. So that's what I'm doing today, and our buddy Adam's going to pop in here at some point. For those of you who didn't catch the beginning, his hot water tank blew this morning, so he is trying to fix that and get it under control. So Adam, we're thinking of you, my buddy. And, of course, hopefully we get some of your fantasy picks here before we wrap the show. This is our last show of the season. It's crazy that we got through 17 weeks of fantasy, and here we are on Championship Sunday. That's what it's all about. But I just went through my wide receiver starts of the week. Let's take a look at Joe Mandel, the Goon, which is me, my tight end starts of the week. And I talked about him earlier. Gerald Everett is a guy that I've been raising the flag for all year. It only took till about week 12 for him to start showing what I was hoping for early this year as one of the top fantasy tight ends. He's had touchdowns in 3 of his last 4 games. He is a target machine for Russell Wilson, and I am pulling up his targets exactly so that I can give you, my case on him. But Gerald Everett, I think whatever happens with him, he's a guy that people are going to be impressed with, and I know I am. I thought he was the best tight end on the Rams when he played for them. Actually, we have a special guest who has joined us from Water Heater Hell. That's right. Adam Schaum, the man with the plan, is in the house. Adam, we're so sorry about everything going on with you, but we're so glad you're here with us on Championship Sunday.
Good morning, Joe. Yeah, it's been an eventful morning at the Schaum household, the water heater situation. Went to bed nervous about fantasy finals today and woke up with more issues to, I guess, at least ease my nerves for a little while. Now they're back and ready to see how this goes today.
Yeah, man, we are excited, and the chat room is excited for Championship Sunday. Did you get it fixed, or is it still a work in progress?
It's fixed now. We got it back going. Just letting it get all hot and ready to go again.
Hot and ready like a Little Caesar's pizza.
Yeah.
So I went through all the inactives in the league, talked through some of the surprises. Nothing too crazy aside from Lamar Jackson being out, and for Philly, no Miles Sanders, but Jordan Howard is now active. So I talked a little bit about how I expect him to be a bit of a bell cow today. I was hoping it was going to be Boston Scott, but every time Jordan Howard is active, it looks like he's going to be a bell cow. Curious your thoughts on Jordan Howard today.
Yeah, I agree with what you just said there. I think we've been tricked by that before, where we all thought it was going to be Boston Scott, and then Jordan Howard comes in and gets 15, 16 carries and 2 goal line touchdowns and gets you 20 fantasy points. So, yeah, I would be very hesitant to play Boston Scott, and I think Jordan Howard could be a great fill-in flex play or something.
I am totally in alignment with you, man. Somebody asked actually earlier in the show, our buddy Connor asked me if I would pick up Jordan Howard over Chase Edmonds, and I said no. Chase Edmonds today is a dynamite play against the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, because Connor, I believe, is out again, isn't he, or not expected to play?
Yeah, I mean, it's not official, but at this point, I can't imagine he's going to be that involved in this game.
Yeah, no, I would take Edmonds over Howard for sure.
Yeah, Edmonds a great matchup today for sure. But Adam, I went through the beginning of my starts and sits. I got up to my tight ends, so I figure maybe I'll just let you run through your until you get the tight end, and then we can kind of pick it up together at that point. But
Okay.
let's take a look at your quarterback starts of the week for Fantasy Championship Sunday.
Yeah. All right, Joe. I got some of the studs here, because that's who's got us here. We're going to stick with them. We can't be afraid of stuff that's happened here in the past. We saw Dak Prescott bounce back last week with a monster game. I think that continues today versus the Arizona defense. I'm firing up Dak with full confidence today. I look for that to be a high-scoring game with the Cardinals and the Cowboys, probably one of the better games of the day. And then Matthew Stafford, man, we saw I think we both had Burrow last week at the start of the week versus Baltimore, and he just shredded him for 525 yards.
Just
unfortunately, I'm going against Cooper Kupp in a place or two, so I'm worried about that. But I think Matthew Stafford's going to have a day again against that. The Ravens' pass defense is just horrendous right now. So Stafford should be in line for another monster game. And on the other side of the Dak Prescott game there, Kyler Murray, I think, is going to have to fight back against the Dak offense, and he should be able to put up points, and they're going to need him to do it with his legs. I think he hasn't done it as much lately, but I think they're still fighting for that 1 seed with Green Bay, so I think they really need to win this game versus Dallas, and Kyler's going to have to do it with his legs and his arms. So I think a big day on both sides of the ball for those quarterbacks.
Yeah, I love it. I was just saying earlier in the show that I think this could be a massive shootout. Dallas and Arizona. I think they could score close to 80 combined points in this one. I think you're going to see both quarterbacks have at least 3 touchdowns. Yeah, I think it's going to be a wild day, and this is going to be one of my games of the week for sure.
No doubt. I agree.
But all great picks there. I especially like Stafford against Baltimore today. I was looking through the inactives list, and that Baltimore defense is just so banged up right now.
Yeah.
I think Matthew Stafford is going to have a fun day down there. But as I mentioned during my wide receiver starts, I could see Van Jefferson, taking quite a bit of points here because he's going to see single coverage, and everyone's going to be looking for Cooper Kupp. So I think this is one of those games that I feel like is going to be a Van Jefferson game. It could even be an Odell game too.
Yeah, for sure. I think the ball's going to get spread all over the place. As bad as that defense is, they're all going to get their fair share of targets, I think. But Van Jefferson could definitely have a monster game versus Baltimore. Just gives up huge plays. I've been saying it every week. They give up more deep balls than anybody in the league, and we know Van Jefferson can take advantage of that.
No doubt about it, man. So as you guessed it, he's on my starts of the week. He always is. But let's get to your running back starts of the week.
Okay. I love our Bears' own David Montgomery once again. I called out a couple weeks ago. I thought he was one of those week-winning type of players here these last 3 or 4 weeks of the season. He came through really big last week to get people to the finals. He had 20-plus points in most leagues last week. And versus the Giants' defense, I think the Bears are going to rely on him again. I believe Dalton's starting a quarterback, which I think also provides a little more upside for the dump-offs to Montgomery.
Sure.
Dalton and as we saw last week, Foles like to drop it off to him. I think he had 6 or 7 catches last week. And so I like Montgomery to get in the end zone here in this game versus the Giants. Another guy we mentioned last week, Ronald Jones, filling in for Fournette, that high-powered offense versus the horrible Jets defense. Kind of hoping they run the ball a lot in that game, and Ronald Jones gets a bunch on the ground here. I think he's a very solid start. Hopefully you picked him up last week, and he's a must-start fill-in if you need somebody right now. And the other guy's Rashad Penny, man, finally staying healthy for a few weeks and finally showing what he can do after, actually staying in a game 2 or 3 times in a row. He's had over 130 yards 3 of the last 4 weeks, I believe. And versus Detroit defense, I mean, we've been preaching these running backs against them all year long. I think he gets the bulk of the work here, and he should run all over Detroit today.
And I have a feeling Seattle's going to go up big, and he's going to have to run out the clock. So I think he's going to have a great day.
That's a great point.
So that's what you need in a championship. That's what you need to get those extra points. So I think that's going to be a coming out, another coming out party for Rashad Penny. If this kid's healthy, he's finally taking that opportunity. So hopefully, he gets more shots next year. But definitely want to start him against Detroit.
I got to say, he was probably in like the last year of his rookie contract or something by now, isn't he? I mean, he's got to be playing for a job next year in Seattle, try to keep that
for
job.
Sure.
Yeah,
for sure, man. Especially with Russell probably leaving, he's like, I want to stay.
yeah.
But all great calls, Adam, and all great options to get you to the promised land of the championship. But let's take a look at your wide receiver starts of the week.
All right, my wide receivers, guy we've loved since the beginning of the season, Jalen Waddle. Man, I mean, this guy's just an absolute stud. The future looks so good for Jalen Waddle. I mean, last week it seemed like every play was going to Jalen Waddle. It seemed like every pass, Jalen Waddle, Jalen Waddle, Jalen Waddle. I don't see any reason that stops today versus Tennessee. I think they're going to have a really good game there versus Tennessee. Miami's really played well over the last 5 or 6 weeks. The defense has stepped up. We know the running game's kind of weak, so that's where Jalen Waddle comes into play so much in the short passing game.
Oh, yeah.
And he can break one at any time. So I love Jalen Waddle to get his usual double-digit targets, probably 80, 90 yards, and hopefully get in the end zone. So Jalen Waddle's probably near top 15 wide receiver going into next year, I would say. Top 20 for sure.
For sure.
Yeah. The other guy that's really stepped up over the last month, and we've mentioned him for a couple weeks in a row now, is Amon-Ra St. Brown for the Detroit Lions. This guy's just getting 12, 13 targets every week. He's been in the 80, 90-yard range, I think, for 3 or 4 weeks straight with touchdowns.
I think he's got a touchdown out of like 3 out of 4, yeah.
Yeah, 3 out of 4 weeks with a touchdown, I think. And the 1 week he didn't, he still had a good game with 90 to 100 yards, I believe. So I think you can count on that. I mean, he's their leading guy. They're going to have to throw the ball. We know they're always behind. So,
yeah.
I mean, I think it's just a great matchup. Seattle's defense is not good either. So I think Amon-Ra St. Brown's another solid player that if you need a flex guy, I think he's a very comfortable play. And the other guy's the stud CeeDee Lamb for Dallas. We talked about how high scoring we think this game is. And I think CeeDee Lamb's going to be a big part of that. He kind of seemed to be a little bit of the odd man out last week where Cooper had a fairly big game. So did Schultz. I think this is a CeeDee Lamb week. And CeeDee Lamb's going to win championships today for people, I believe.
I'm with you, man. I think all these guys you listed here could be league winners. I'm hoping so because I'm playing Amon-Ra St. Brown against you in one of our championships.
Yeah.
I picked him off waivers, and I'm like, ooh, I'm starting him.
Yeah, he's a good play, man. I think it's a very solid, comfortable play where he's going to give you a safe floor, but he also has a lot of upside.
And that's what it's all about, man. You got to have that upside going into the championship.
Yep.
And when you got here, I was just going over my tight ends, but let's take a look at your tight end starts of the week, and then I'll go back to mine.
All right. Well, one of them staying in that game again, Zach Ertz. I think with DeAndre Hopkins out, Ertz gets a lot of targets there. They're going to need him to make plays. He's had a lot of targets in the games with Kyler Murray playing, and I think Arizona's going to have to spread the ball around a lot to keep up. We know we've talked about James Conner possibly being out most likely. So, again, Zach Ertz, just a safety blanket, I think, for Kyler Murray, can get the easy touchdown as well. The other one's Dawson Knox, man, a fantastic matchup versus the Atlanta Falcons today. I'm weary of saying this because we've been burnt by it multiple times, but, this is one of those games Buffalo should put 40 up and blow this team out. However, it seems like they fail to do that when we expect it. But, this is a killer matchup for Dawson Knox versus Atlanta, and I'm willing to put my money on it and play him, no doubt. I think he gets in the end zone and has a big game versus the Falcons. And the other one's the stud of tight ends, George Kittle, but he had a really bad game last week. Probably hurt a lot of people. Hopefully you survived it if you did. I think even with Trey Lance today, he's able to get back on the board and on track. I think Trey Lance can use George Kittle and maybe getting some easy throws to him versus what we know is another terrible Houston defense. And I'm really counting on George Kittle myself this week, and I think he's going to get it done. I think we get a touchdown out of Kittle. May not be the 136-yard game he's had a couple weeks ago, but I think he has a solid game with Trey Lance behind center. They're going to run the ball and try to make short passes. George Kittle comes into play and wins championships.
I agree. I mean, his talent is bar none. When he's healthy, he's one of the best tight ends in the league. But I think last week Houston's defense did prove that they're not quite as bad as we think they are. They came and somehow pulled off an upset against the Chargers. I'm still not sure exactly what happened there, but I do think Kittle can still have a good day today.
Yeah, I barely survived that one with Herbert, man. That was a bummer.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you did. You did. Thankfully, just get enough out of him.
Yeah, he managed to get close to 18 there right at the end of the fourth quarter. But yeah, that was a very surprising game.
For sure, man. And getting into my tight end starts of the week, here's a guy that I talked about all season long, thinking he was going to be the second coming of fantasy tight end goodness, and it took until about week 12, but he got there. Gerald Everett for the Seattle Seahawks. Russell Wilson finally starting to trust him. The second half of the season. This is the second half, 8 targets, 4 targets, 9, 6, 2 targets, 4 targets, 5 targets. But the most important thing is he's got 3 touchdowns in his last 5, and he's a red zone threat. And he gets to play against the Detroit Lions today. He's a big, tall guy. I love Gerald Everett in a lot of capacity. A lot of people are asking me, do I like Pat Freiermuth today? And I don't love Freiermuth or what I'm seeing out of Pittsburgh. I like a Gerald Everett over Freiermuth. I just like what I'm seeing out of him as well. So Gerald Everett for me is a guy that could help you in a big way today. He might even have 2 touchdowns today. I feel pretty good about that possibility. Dawson Knox, same reasons Adam just said. It's a finger-looking good matchup. And let's be honest, Dawson Knox, when he is healthy and when he has a good matchup, he's a top 4 tight end. He's been the number 1 tight end for touchdowns all year, and I think he adds more to that tally today for sure. And then I put Hunter Henry on here because, I have Mac Jones listed later in one of my lists. You'll see here in a little bit, but Jacksonville, not a very good defense, not very good against covering the tight end. And while Hunter Henry's not going to kill you with targets, he's not going to get like 12 targets. He'll probably have between 4 and 6 targets in this game, and all of them will be in the red zone. And Hunter Henry, he could have 3 catches, and they could all be touchdowns. I like the prospect of that against Jacksonville, and that's the reason I like Hunter Henry today. At least for sure to score 1 touchdown. Very easily could have a trio. So love Hunter Henry today against Jacksonville. Tight end's a weird position, man. I never would have thought I'd have any of these guys on this list during Championship Sunday.
Yeah, it's quite a list for Championship Sunday, but I'm on the same page with you, man. Hunter Henry's gotten most people here with catching those red zone targets, like you mentioned, and Gerald Everett, man. Since Russell Wilson's come back, he's looking like the player you've hoped he was all year. He's getting those targets, he's getting the red zone targets, and I think these are all great plays.
I love it, man. I'm excited. I think I'm starting Gerald Everett against you too in one league. So hopefully I can finally wave that flag and maybe he'll do something for me.
Yeah.
But Adam, let's get to our. Before we do that, before we get to our sits, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we will be right back after this word from our Barroom Network sponsors. We'll be right back.
The Barroom Network presents 2 fired-up Bears fans. They are ready to rumble on the Bear Debate.
All right, welcome back to Fantasy Football Goon, and we are getting to our sits and sleepers for Fantasy Championship Sunday. And without further ado, Adam, let's dive headfirst into our sits of the week. I'll go ahead and lead things off with you. Let's take a look at what you got for guys that should be riding the pine on Championship Sunday.
All right, some guys I'm worried about this week. Start out with Tua Tagovailoa versus Tennessee. I think the Dolphins have a good game and win this game. I just don't think it comes on a huge game by Tua. I think he provides enough to get Waddle that great game we talked about already, but I don't see this being a 350-yard game and 2 or 3 touchdowns from Tua. I think it's going to be a grinded out, low-scoring game here. Like I said, Waddle's going to get his through the PPR. But for the most part, I'm not comfortable playing Tua this week in the championships. I know a lot of people have used him over the last month or so because he has been a really solid quarterback, but I don't think he's going to provide you that upside you're going to need to win the championship this week. So he's on benches for me. Another guy that just breaks my heart to have to say because we love this guy coming into the year. We love this guy during the year, but the quarterback play just is not getting it done for Terry McLaurin. We're seeing like one big play a game out of him, and you just can't depend on that. You got to have the safe floor right now in this week's games in your matchup. So Terry McLaurin just doesn't offer it. Philadelphia can pretty much key in on him, I think, with Antonio Gibson out, and I just don't expect a lot out of him. And unfortunately, he's not going to be in any of my lineups today.
I agree.
And the other one's the stud that's disappointed all year, Saquon Barkley. He could easily have a good game versus Chicago. It's not like the Chicago defense is overpowering right now or anything, but Saquon can't get it done against anybody right now, and that's mostly due to that horrendous offensive line New York has. I just don't see much happening. He may get 9 or 10 fantasy points, but again, you got to shoot for the moon right now because, I mean, if you're in the championship, you're going against another very good team. They're not a team that's going to squeeze by with 90 points and you hope for 91 and win. You know, you need to put up a high score this week to win.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, so I just don't see Saquon giving you that 25 to 30 point game you've been hoping for all year. So that's one I'm down on. And another one would be Noah Fant there versus Chargers. You just can't trust the Denver passing game right now. I'm out on all Denver pass catchers. If it's not Javonte Williams or Melvin Gordon, I'm not interested with Denver players. So Chargers defense is pretty good. We know they can definitely shut down the middle of the field with Derwin James and those guys. So that's why I'm out on Noah Fant as well. But these guys, I'm not comfortable putting any of these guys in my championship lineup, Joe.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you totally on Denver, and I'm with you on Scary Terry. This is a guy that you and me both were in love with, Scary Terry, and he had some amazing games to start the year. I think everyone knows that he's like their only wide receiving threat, and he's just constantly covered. It's tough. Hopefully next year he gets a better quarterback.
Maybe Mitch Trubisky.
It's possible. You never know. Getting into my sits of the week, I got Michael Carter leading things off here. A lot of people, say that, Tampa Bay, Michael Carter might be able to get some stuff done. I just don't see him getting anything done, the Jets offense at all. For that record, I'm not comfortable starting any Jets in the championship week, let alone the playoffs. But Michael Carter has been the one guy who's had some quality games. I just do not see that happening today. Tampa Bay is going to stack the box, and they're also going to force them to throw, which we all know how that's going to work out. That's going to be a blowout. Also, Ryan Tannehill is on my sit list. You talked about that Miami game. I agree with you, Adam. I think it's going to be a really low-scoring game. It's going to be a defensive game. If they want to win, both teams are going to have to run the ball. I just don't see anything happening. Ryan Tannehill has been one of the biggest disappointments in fantasy this year. A lot of people drafted him to be their number one, and he certainly has not lived up to that bill this year. And but next year, he's not even going to be on my radar as a fantasy quarterback. Even with Henry, he didn't do anything. So Ryan Tannehill for me is a big bust, and I'm definitely not starting him in the championship. We talked about Scary Terry. You and I both feel the same way. This is a guy you cannot trust. For as talented as he is, I don't trust him in the fantasy championship. And Adam, Philly's secondary has been much better as of late, to the point where, I didn't like Terry even if they were bad, but I like him even less now that the defense is finally starting to figure it out. So I'm keeping Terry on my bench. And then Mike Gesicki, this is a guy that I know a lot of people are really high on him. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game, and I think it's going to be Waddle, like you said. I think he's going to take those short passes, and I think Gesicki is going to be the odd man out. He's going to be the blocking tight end today, I really think. So I just cannot see him getting you enough points to warrant a start in Championship Sunday. If you're desperate, then by all means give Mike Gesicki a start. He's better than some other guys out there, but I still don't like Mike Gesicki today. I think he's going to be kind of left on the wayside in this game. So those are my sits of the week today, Adam.
I like them a lot, Joe. And what the Michael Carter one, I mean, I just don't see Tampa Bay, to me, is the number one defense for sure to play this week versus the Jets.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and something I hadn't thought about either that I heard mentioned on TV this morning was this is Todd Bowles' revenge game versus the Jets. He's coming back as that defensive coordinator. That just, he's going to put tons of pressure on Zach Wilson and hopefully lead to a lot of turnovers there. So Tampa Bay's just killer play at defense this week if you have them.
I'm fully aligned with that, man. And Tampa Bay, they could easily get you 20 plus points today. I feel it for sure.
I hope so.
And that's all you could ask for in Fantasy Championship Sunday. Max Hunt, a newcomer in the chat room, has got a question for us, Adam. He wants to know Cordarrelle Patterson or Chase Edmonds.
That one's pretty close. I would probably lean Chase Edmonds, actually. Patterson's versus Buffalo, which is a good defense. They haven't been as great versus running backs lately, but I still just think Atlanta struggles a lot in that game. So I think I would probably slightly lean Edmonds, but that one's really close. I'm curious what you have to say, Joe.
Yeah, I really like Edmonds in this one. Believe it or not, I'm kind of sleeping a little bit today on Cordarrelle Patterson. I don't love the matchup. I don't know how involved he's going to be. I mean, I know he's going to be involved, but I'm just worried about Buffalo's defense and them falling behind because they've been using him, more as a running back. I just think that they're going to be way behind in this game, and I just don't see Patterson being involved all that much when they're, getting absolutely murdered. So I think Edmonds is going to be consistently part of this game today. So that's why I lean towards him.
I agree.
Now we got a bunch of newcomers here in the chat. This is great. So we're going to get to our sleepers here in just a little bit, but we're going to answer some of your questions, guys. Keep them coming. We're happy to answer them here on this Championship Sunday. Gavin Mertz wants to know Zeke or Penny and pick 3: AJ Brown, Lockett, Jamar Chase, Mike Williams, Devontae Smith. Man, that's Zeke or Penny is tough because I love Penny's matchup and he's going to be a workhorse. I wouldn't think that this would be as tough as it is, but it is definitely tough.
Yeah, it's crazy we have to think about that. But
Pollard's starting to get healthy again too, but I just have such a hard time benching Zeke because he's going to get a lot of those goal line carries. And I lean Zeke by a little bit, but I'm curious in your flex spot, Gavin, if you could potentially shovel Penny in there. Just let us know what you got going on in your flex spot. But I would definitely get Penny in there if you could. Out of those 3, Adam, who do you like? Because I know you're a big fan of AJ Brown.
Yeah. AJ Brown would be one of the 3 for sure. I would not play Tyler Lockett at this point of the season. He's too much of a wild card every week. To me, it's between Jamar Chase and Mike Williams for the other spot, and I think I would play AJ Brown and Jamar Chase out of these. Again, we talked about you got to put up a high number here in the finals, and we know Chase can do that at any time. He still had a 100-yard game last week, even though it wasn't the T. Higgins game, but he still had a good game. AJ Brown had a monster game. He's really all their offense has right now. So I think I would play AJ Brown and Chase. And I can't bench Zeke here at the finals.
Yeah. So, Gavin actually responded. He said he could sub a wide receiver for a flex. So pick 2. So I would say, oops, wrong one. I would say we would take AJ Brown, Jamar Chase, and then for your flex, put Penny in your flex.
Yeah, I like that.
I think I feel really good about that. Actually, I like Jamar Chase a lot today. I think that's going to be a really high scoring game. I can't wait to see what they do, man. That's a great problem to have, Gavin. So great job drafting and managing the waiver wire this season. All right. Well, I appreciate you, Gavin. Owen, another newcomer to the chat. Do I risk starting Chase Edmonds and bet that James Conner will be out, or do I go with Mike Evans? Well, the way I see it, Adam, is regardless if James Conner even is back, how healthy is he and how big of a part of the game plan is he going to be? I can't imagine James Conner planned to be playing all that much today.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a risk I'm willing to take. Again, this is your last shot right here. I'm not taking my chances with guys coming off an injury that are questionable coming into the game. I want guys that are healthy, don't have any issues, and are ready to go. So I'm avoiding Connor today. Do I start Edmonds or Mike Evans? I'm avoiding Evans as well. He's risky coming off of that injury and COVID and everything. I'm starting Edmonds here.
Yeah, I love Chase Edmonds today. I said it at the top of the show, and I strongly believe it. I think he could be a league winner if you start him today. I really think he's going to be heavily involved in this game in every facet of it. So PPR points alone, he could easily have 10 points just PPR. I mean, depending on the way the game plays out. But I love Chase Edmonds today. I would start him if I had him on every team. So that's how strongly I feel about him. Man, the questions keep pouring in. I love this, guys. Fantasy Championship Sunday. All new names in the chat. That's what I love to see. Julius Zamora. Sup, guys? For flex, should I start Ronald Jones, DK Metcalf, or Mike Williams? Ooh, man. Between the Jones and DK, it's quite the conundrum, Adam.
Yeah, it sure is. Man, that is tough. DK's got a good matchup versus Detroit.
Yeah, man, I have such a hard time benching DK Metcalf against the Detroit Lions. Even though I think Ronald Jones is going to have a big day today, I think DK could have a world beater day. He could have a 3-touchdown, 160-yard game.
Yeah, for the championship, I think I want that ceiling with DK there.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%.
That's tough. The Ronald Jones is really close, but I think I would go DK. Yeah,
it's close, but you're going for the potential in Fantasy Championship Sunday. You got to go big, or literally you go home. So,
yeah, I also think Tampa Bay could get Keyshawn Vaughn involved today. If they get ahead a lot in that game, might not see as much Ronald Jones as we hope for in the second half.
This is also very true. Great question, Julius. Appreciate you tuning in. And Owen, who we just answered that question about Chase Edmonds, says, love it. Thanks, guys. Happy I found the channel.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, for sure, Owen. We always appreciate it. And even though this is our last show of the season, we will be back next year as well. We go live every Sunday, answer all questions here in the chat. And then Adam and I both on Twitter answer all questions too. You can see our tags next to our name. I'm at Joe Mandel. Adam's at Papa Bear 816. And for Fantasy Football Goon, our Twitter handle is at FFB Goon. And we answer all fantasy questions all year long. So do not hesitate to give us a follow. And then we don't hesitate to ask any questions. We always answer them. So thanks for tuning in. And before we get to our sleepers, we got one more in the chat from Nick, another newcomer. Cam Newton is his profile picture. I like that. Full PPR pick 2. Russell Gage, Devontae Parker, or Devontae Smith. Interesting. I definitely am taking Devontae Parker out of consideration, Adam, here, because that is going to be a very low-scoring game today.
Yeah, I agree. I would Russell Gage would definitely be the first one, and then I think I would take Devontae Smith over Devontae Parker. I like the matchup Smith versus the Redskins or versus Washington football team better than I do Parker. Yeah, we've talked about that Miami game. I just don't see much points happening. I think the only pass catcher I'm comfortable with is Waddle there today.
Yep, I'm with you there. So Russell Gage and Devontae Smith out of those two. So good luck to you, Nick. We always appreciate it. And Julia says, thanks, guys. Happy New Year. Have a great one. Yeah, you too.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in, and good luck in your championship matchup. So now Adam and I are going to get to our sleepers, and we're coming right up to kickoff, so we're going to get through these quick. I just didn't realize it's almost noon. Our sleepers of the week, I'm going to lead off with mine, and we'll do them quick. We talked about Jordan Howard at the top of the show. He's one of my top sleepers for today. This is the guy that when he is the lead dog, he gets it done. And Washington's defense has been horrible. So I think Jordan Howard has a big day. Between 80 and 90 yards and a touchdown, maybe 2. Great day from Jordan Howard. Cole Kmet has been on my sleeper list for a while, but I do think that he's going to have a nice day against the Giants, especially with our buddy Andy Dalton starting this game. Little chuck down passes to the big guy. Cole Kmet could have 6 catches in this game. He might not have a crazy yardage total, like 6 catches for like 80 yards, but I think one of those catches is going to be a touchdown. So like Cole Kmet today. And then I don't know if anybody's had this guy on a sleeper list all year, but I got Mac Jones today against the Jaguars. He has not got it done through the air, but I think this might be the day that Bill Belichick finally lets the arm cannon loose on Mac Jones. I hope that's the case because I like Jacoby Myers today as well. Mac Jones, I think, finally throws for over 300 yards this week and gets the W against Jacksonville. And then the last but not least from Buffalo, Gabriel Davis. This is a guy that's been getting more and more involved with this passing game. Of course, Emmanuel Sanders out for this game, so he's going to have a bigger role. And he gets a really nice matchup against Atlanta. Gabriel Davis, he's going to have 6, maybe 7 catches for almost 100 yards, and he could even have a score in this one. I'm not gonna hinge my bets on the score, but I definitely feel like he's going to have 7 catches, 6 or 7 for around 100 yards. So that's all you could ask for out of a sleeper, Adam.
Absolutely. I like those picks. I like Gabriel Davis a lot. I think he's a really good player. I liked him last season as well. He did the same kind of thing about the last third of last year. He really showed out, and I thought that would carry over to the beginning of this season, and it seemed like they didn't use him at the start of this year. But Emmanuel Sanders kind of took his job at the start of the season, it seemed like. But
for sure.
Gabriel Davis is a good player going into next season to keep an eye on, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
But, yeah, here's some guys that I think could be sleepers. And, these are not guys I'm saying go grab and throw them in your championship lineup right now. But if you're in a jam, I think these guys can get it done for you. One of them is going to be Jarrett Patterson. He's filling in for Antonio Gibson today for Washington football team versus Philadelphia. Patterson's been getting a fair share of work over the last 6-7 weeks anyway. I think with Gibson coming out of the game, it's going to be his job today. We also know McKissick's out. So I think Patterson could be a valuable guy just from a workload standpoint and touches. And I think he could be a guy you can grab right off the wire at the last second if you have to and throw him in. So that's one. Another guy that I think could be forgotten about by the defense at times is A.J. Green for the Cardinals today. We talked about that game being high scoring. Trayvon Diggs is going to be out there. We know how good the Dallas defense has been, but A.J. Green could be the forgotten guy because Arizona has so many weapons to cover between Edmonds and Ertz and Christian Kirk, Rondale Moore. A.J. Green could slip past there, and he's a good red zone target. And A.J. Green's actually had a pretty decent season, so I look for him as somebody you could pick up and throw in if you're in a jam as well.
For sure.
The other guy, Trey Lance, coming in versus Houston today. We know he can really get it done with his legs, and I think that's part of what he's going to do today versus Houston. I think he gets a lot done with his legs in this game. Hopefully could get a couple of those easy touchdown passes probably. So I think Trey Lance is one of those guys that could come in right off your bench today and get you 18, 20 fantasy points and be enough to get you by. And the other guy's forgotten about in Tampa a lot, and that's Cameron Brate. But he showed up with touchdown last week. And with all the pass catchers they have out right now, between Godwin hurt, Evans questionable, Cameron Brate could easily get forgotten about in the middle of the field with coverage going on Gronk. So Gronk can kind of be that decoy. Cameron Brate can score the touchdown. So another guy I like if you need a fill-in tight end.
I love it. I love it, Adam. And we do have a little bit of breaking news. It's affecting the Kansas City game. Starting tackle Orlando Brown for the Kansas City Chiefs has just become questionable with a calf injury minutes before kickoff. So that's never a good sign. So that could obviously affect that offense a little bit today. So just keep an eye on that.
Yeah, for sure. And
we just got one question here before kickoff. Greg wants to know Boston Scott, A.J. Dillon, or James Conner. You start one in PPR. I don't love any of them particularly. I was high on Boston Scott until Jordan Howard was announced to be starting. But I think out of the three, I think Boston Scott will still probably have a role in this game. So I'd probably go Boston Scott. But Adam, I don't know where you fall here.
I actually would take A.J. Dillon, I think, out of these three. Yeah, A.J. Dillon, man, he's really good. I think he's gotten as many touches as Aaron Jones has for a while now. And I think this game they could get ahead by quite a bit in this game. And I think A.J. Dillon could have like one of those big second halves here of this game. So because of the Jordan Howard concern with Boston Scott, I would take A.J. Dillon.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, and they've got an interesting matchup today as well. Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers still managing to fight off that toe injury. What is that? That's tonight's game, right? Yeah, against Minnesota. So yeah, and there's no Kirk Cousins in that game either, so that could be interesting.
Right, that's why I think the Packers could get ahead by a lot, and A.J. Dillon could have a big second half of that game.
That's a very strong possibility. So yeah, either way, I think it's a good problem to have. Well, we got through our everything in this one, Adam, and it's kind of crazy to think that we just hit kickoff of Championship Sunday. And before we do anything else, first off, I want to say congratulations, man, on your first season on Fantasy Football Goon.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure talking fantasy with you all year. You've been great. I knew you would be great. But like I said, buddy, it's been a privilege to be able to talk with you every week. And I'm so happy you were able to join me and join me on this journey, man, because it's been a blast all season long.
Man, I thank you so much, Joe, as I always say. And I thank Aldo and the Barroom Network and everybody. It's been a privilege being on here, being able to talk to you and everybody else. I love answering the questions every week. And I can't wait for next season to do it again and hopefully keep building the brand here. And hopefully some people win some championships today. And maybe we had a little bit of something to do with it.
Yeah, man, as if we were able to help you guys in any way, that's what it's all about. And, all you people that tuned in today, we appreciate it. And whether it's, Connor, or Max or Gavin or Owen, Julius, Nick, all you guys, if you guys win your championship, let us know on Twitter. Let us know on Facebook at our personal handles here, at Joe Mandel, at Papa Bear 816, or at FFB Goon. Let us know if you won. Send us some screenshots. We love to hear it. And, it's the greatest thing that could ever happen is for you to take our advice and listen to it and actually take it to heart. So it means a lot that we've gained your trust, and we know there's other places you could go, but, we're just happy you've been here with us for the ride all year long. And I second what Adam had to say about everyone here at the Barroom Network. A huge thanks to Aldo Gandia, the barkeeper, the man with the plan, the man in charge. We appreciate you for giving us this platform and this network. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk fantasy all year long and help some folks out there. And all the other great shows in the Barroom Network. Thank you. Barfly Tailgate Show, which has gone live before us every single week. Appreciate you boys. As always, you always put on a great show and have great content. And, sometimes your listeners hang out and tune into us too. So we always appreciate that as well. All the other great shows on the network, all the personalities, we thank you. I'm not going to list you all individually because I love you all. We're at the shout out portion here, Adam. So I'll let you do a couple shout outs here before we get done for our full year of Fantasy Football Goon.
All right, Joe. First and foremost, shout out to my wife and my family for allowing me the time every Sunday morning to get this done. I've got a hectic schedule these days, and they always give me the opportunity to get in here, and they're happy that we're able to do it. So I appreciate that to all of them. Again, to yourself, most of all, for inviting me into the program and bringing me into this whole situation. And same for Aldo Gandia and the Barroom Network. I can't say thank you enough for the opportunity. And most of all, probably shout out to all the questions and the Connor and all those guys that are in here every morning asking questions. The people on Twitter asking questions all week long. If they don't do those things, we don't have anything to talk about really. So, we really appreciate everybody tuning in. And I just hope it really works out for everybody today. I hope everybody has a great Sunday. We get a lot of fantasy points. And like I said a minute ago, hopefully hopefully they can feel confident in the advice we've given them.
I love it, man. I echo that sentiment as well, man. So thank you as always. And I want to give a huge shout out to my beautiful wife, Catherine, and huge shout out for, of course, she's at this point very, very pregnant. We'll be welcoming our baby daughter here, our daughter Audrey, in any day now, really. I mean, she's due in less than 2 weeks, but she can make her appearance anytime. I'm thankful to the fantasy gods that we were able to get through the full season, before she was born. So she didn't interrupt any shows, which of course she's got fantastic timing. She's going to be my daughter.
That's right.
But, a huge shout out to my beautiful wife for everything she's doing with the baby. And of course, I have to give a shout out to my beautiful baby girl, Audrey Lauren Marie. Can't wait to meet you here any day now. And our puppy, our Great Dane puppy, Maverick, he's about 1.5 years and he's a big boy. We love him too. And then you can probably hear him barking now in the background, right on cue. And of course, Adam, I thank you for everything and your family for allowing you to be with me every Sunday morning. The support we get from everyone, our families, my wife, your kids, it means the world, my in-laws and my parents, everyone that supports me, it means the world. And we couldn't do this without you guys. So with that said, we're at kickoff now. We got through the entire show. And here we are. Now it's time to go win a championship and see what dreams are made of. Adam and I are meeting in one championship game. Ironically, we're in a podcast league with a bunch of other Chicagoland podcasts. And it's Goon versus Goon in the championship game. So we'll see what happens in that one. But Adam, good luck in that one, bud. And
same to you.
It's been fun all year, kind of going neck and neck in that league.
Yep.
But here we are. We reached the tail end of the show. We're going to get out of here now. And we're going to go watch some games. Adam's got his first Sunday off in forever. Of course, he had to deal with a hot water tank issue, but hopefully that's behind you now and you can enjoy a little bit of football Sunday.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to now, is getting to watch these games and seeing some fantasy points rack up.
That's what it's all about, baby. And good luck in all your other leagues, Adam. And to all of our listeners, again, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for joining us all year long. Go win that championship. And we're going to be back here next year, keeping the content coming your way and helping you win those leagues again. So without further ado, for Fantasy Football Goon, I am Joe Mandel, the Goon. This guy over here is Adam Schaum, the man with the plan. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts. God bless America. God bless football. And let's kick some ass. Win those championships. We'll see you guys next year.
Good luck, everybody.